It was a rainy evening in a small town when the crash happened. A passenger bus lost control and flipped off the road, landing in a muddy field. Panic echoed through the village as ambulances arrived and sirens broke the silence of the storm. Among the wreckage, amidst the broken glass and twisted metal, was a small boy, crying, shivering, and alone. No one seemed to know who he was. There were no parents around, no ID, no name tag, just wide, terrified eyes staring into the dark. Emma, a local woman in her early 30s, had come to the scene to help. Her own past was full of pain. She had lost her newborn years ago and never recovered. But when she saw the little boy crying near the bus, something stirred in her heart. She rushed to him, wrapped her shawl around him, and held him close. The boy clung to her as if he'd known her forever. At the hospital, doctors confirmed the boy had no major injuries. Police searched for his parents, but no one came forward. The authorities allowed Emma to take temporary custody until someone claimed him. Days turned into weeks, and no one ever did. Emma named him Ryan. She didn't know where he came from, but she knew one thing: he was meant to be with her. Emma's small home slowly transformed with laughter, toys, and the sound of tiny footsteps. Ryan became the center of her world. He was quiet at first, haunted perhaps by memories he couldn't express. But with time, Emma's warmth melted his fears. She read him bedtime stories, packed his lunch for school, and stood at every parent-teacher meeting, though she never told anyone that he wasn't her biological son. The townspeople adored Ryan. "He looks just like Emma," they'd often say, unaware of the truth. Emma smiled politely each time, her heart aching with the secret she carried. But in her eyes, he was her son, maybe not by blood, but by love, by choice, by fate. Years passed. Emma worked long hours at the library, stitching together a modest life for the two of them. Every birthday, she baked his favorite chocolate cake. Every winter, she knitted him a new sweater. Ryan, in turn, grew into a kind, respectful young man. He called her mom without hesitation and meant it. One evening, Ryan asked curiously, "Mom, where did I come from?" Emma froze. Her heart raced. "I found you," she whispered, "on a very sad day. But that day turned into the happiest one of my life." Ryan didn't ask more. He trusted her. That was enough. But time, as always, had its own plans. And the truth, buried for 20 years, was slowly making its way to the surface. It all began with paperwork. Ryan had just turned 20. He had plans to travel abroad for a university scholarship. While filling out passport documents, the authorities asked for his birth certificate. Emma gave him everything she had: the hospital file, his adoption papers from child services, and some old photos. But a red flag was raised. His documents lacked an official birth record. The immigration officer suggested a DNA verification to support the adoption claim. Ryan agreed without much thought, but when the results came in, they changed everything. Ryan was not listed in any regional database, but the DNA sample triggered a match in another state. A match tied to an unresolved missing child case from 2 decades ago. The name of the child? Noah Bennett. Reported missing after a bus crash in a neighboring district. Ryan read the report in silence. His hands trembled. He turned to Emma with wide eyes. "Mom, is this me?" Emma's face turned pale. Her eyes welled up with tears. She had always feared this moment, but hoped it would never come. "I didn't know your name, Ryan. I swear. You were just there, alone, and no one came. I loved you. I raised you the only way I knew how." Ryan didn't say a word. He quietly walked into his room. For the first time in his life, he wasn't sure who he really was. And far away, a woman named Claire Bennett received a call from the police. "Ma'am, We believe we may have found your son." Claire arrived 2 days later. She stood at Emma's doorstep, aged, trembling, and emotional beyond words. Her hands shook as she held a photograph of her missing son Noah as a toddler. Emma opened the door, standing face to face with the past she never expected to see again. Ryan looked at them both, two women, both crying, both mothers in their own right. Claire reached out to touch his face, tears running down her cheeks. "My baby, my Noah." Ryan didn't know what to feel. He had lived a full life with Emma. She was his mother. She had kissed his bruises, attended every school event, stayed up on his sick nights. But now, this stranger, this woman with the same eyes and the same smile, claimed to be his real mother. Claire sat down with Emma, and they talked for hours. No blame, no accusations, just pain and truth. Emma said, "I never meant to take him away. No one claimed. The police gave up. I didn't even know he had a name." Claire replied, "I never stopped looking. Every day, every year, I never gave up hope." The two women, though broken, saw each other not as enemies, but as survivors of the same cruel twist of fate. But now, the hardest part remained. Ryan had to choose. The next morning, the sun rose over the quiet town, casting golden light on the small house that held too many memories. Ryan sat between the two women, both fragile, both loving, both looking at him with hope and heartbreak. "I don't know what to do," he whispered. Claire reached out and said softly, "You don't have to choose. I just want to know you're alive, that you're happy. That's enough for me." Emma stayed quiet, holding back tears. She had no words, only fear. Ryan looked at Claire and held her hand. "I'm so sorry for what you lost." Then he turned to Emma, "And I'm so thankful for what I gained." He stood, walked to Emma and wrapped his arms around her. "You didn't give me life, Mom, but you gave me a life worth living. And that matters more than anything." Claire smiled through tears. "He's yours. He'll always be." The three of them embraced, not as victims of fate, but as people bound by love. And from that day forward, Ryan had two mothers, one who gave him life and one who gave him everything after.